Here goes part two to the background of the company. Enjoy the listen. I can, for sure. That's kind of a brief description on all that I did working for Lawn Doctor, man. And then wintertime, snow was booming. But over this period, the other one who I haven't mentioned yet, the partner to my boss for the snow part, he actually was selling a truck at one point in time. And before I go into this truck, my wife and I had our second child throughout this time period. I also had some health issues throughout this time period where I was dealing with, not many people are going to know what this is, but it was a urethral stricture, something I ended up having to have surgery on a couple of times, and then I finally got a specialist that that actually was able to perform the surgery. But I'm trying to keep it kind of PG on here. I'm not really trying to get in detail on what that was. Basically, the most PG way I can think of saying it is it gets to the point where you can't pee, and I get rushed to the ER, and once again they eventually remove the stricture. So going through all this, man, I'm still doing my business on the side, and I mean it is increasing, and I'm still doing the same thing, spending money back into the company. At this point, I had already got a right stander. I had sold off pretty much all the John Deere equipment. I got a right stander, 52 inch. I still had the zero turn. Then I ended up getting an Exmark 60 inch walk behind. Then I ended up selling that John Deere rider, 42 inch, and getting a 60 inch Exmark sit down as well. So I'm getting my equipment while I'm still working and being a manager. I'm also getting my connection game up. Like, I'm the face of Lawn Doctor at that period for that branch. I'm the one going in and like shaking hands with all these suppliers and ordering stuff, our parts from the equipment dealer, fertilizer dealer, to the point where, I made relationships then that to this day I still have and I'm still using. So I'm working my behind off, man. One of the partners, I bought a truck off of him. Matter of fact, this was after I had already bought no, let me take that back. A guy who used to be one of my coworkers. He went on to do his own business full time. He had a Ram 2500 with the Boss plow mount for sale. I bought that off of him, so we had a beefier truck. Oh my gosh, I went through so much with that truck that first year, man, repair wise. Had brake lines go out and had a computer go on that truck. Oh my gosh, we had so much going on with that truck. It was because it was so rusted and whatnot. So anyways, got that truck, and I think the next year the partner had he had a crew cab F450 with the 7.3 power stroke in it. Had a 7.3 power stroke in it. It was two-wheel drive, came with a Meyer plow, and it was a dump body. Oh, I had to hop on that, man. I worked out a payment plan with him. Got that truck. And let me go ahead and because as I go through this, I told you I'm not the best with timelines. This is important, and I left this out. This is an important thing that I left out. So, at this point we have two kids, my son my daughter, my wife and I, we have our family, and I'm working sun up, sundown, working law doctor. So I get a call one day. I'd already been starting. When I told you about the equipment I got, it's because I was already kind of thinking, down the road, I want to do my own business. I never would make that full plunge, that full jump. Everybody says, when are you ready to do your own business? When are you ready to take the plunge, take the jump? But when you have a family, that is a lot more difficult. That's what people don't speak about. What happened with me was a blessing. This is why I mention my faith so much. This was God all day, man. Straight up. God had that first company I mentioned that I worked for, the landscape company where I'm out there working with grown men. They called me, and I meant to tell you that this was a husband and wife owned company in the area that I worked for at the time. Their office manager calls me and says, "Hey, such and such. I'm not gonna mention the company here. Such and such is looking for a subcontractor for all of our residentials. Are you interested?" I said, "Yeah." We sat down. We talked about it. We had set up a meeting, and everything sounded good to my wife and I. Basically, there's 60 residentials. They'll pay us weekly to maintain their 60 residentials on top of what we had. I think we had 35 at the time we were doing. And I'm jumping all around here, but I know some are going 35 on a Saturday. That's crazy. Yeah, it is. Which is why at this point I was also, my boss let me get a flex schedule where I think it was Thursdays and Fridays I was off. I was just working I would do 14 hours Monday through Wednesday. I did so much work in that little time frame that he didn't mind me being off Thursday and Friday. So I was working on my business Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was doing 3 on there, 3 on myself. So I built my business up. I think I might have had 35 to 40 clients at that time. And then we took on the extra 60 or 65. I just know the two together was 120 yards. And this was June when we had this meeting. The second, or it was May, but the second they called me for the meeting, he had said his wife had died. So basically, and their guys didn't come back because they did the H2B program, which I mentioned before for a reason. So they did the H2B program. Couldn't get none of his guys back. His wife had died the year before, who was a vital part of the company. Well, with him, because they were a husband and wife team. And not only did he lose his wife, love of his life, but he also lost the one person in that company that kind of kept a lot of relationships going, while he's more so the operations guy. So he's out in the field a lot. His college son is coming in and helping him here and there, and they just could not keep up with it. So they reached out, and we were the ones that accepted the deal. Everybody else was too busy to accept. We happily accepted. The money sounded right, so it was right enough for me to actually put in my 2 weeks. But before I put the 2 weeks in with the boss, of course, my wife and I, we prayed on it. My wife and I had decided it was time for me to go full time, allow me more time to be around the family, because I'm working sun up, sundown for this other company. I'm just not happy. So I called up my guys, my boys, Dom and Ed. I had brought Dom on. I know you recognize that name. I brought him on to Lawn Doctor, trained him there. And I brought another guy, and I brought a couple of people in. I had to call them up and be like, hey, time has come. About to put my 2 weeks in. I put my 2 weeks in, and then, the boss was just like, yeah, well, he's a joker. He straight up said, hopefully it doesn't work out and you come back. And he goes, I'm just kidding. And I'm looking at him like, you're not really kidding, but, I get it. That just drove me and motivated me that much more. So I went through the first couple of days with my business full time, and this guy bagged all his properties. They were all knee high. I was struggling, and it was hot. Oh my gosh. I'm used to doing 30 some a day of my own properties that are well maintained, but these, man, I was getting six. I got six done the first day. Six. So then the next day, I think I might have got like seven done. Because you're not only doing brand new homes, but you're having to bag every last residential because it's his policy. I was able to, within a time frame, thank God, hire I left this part out, but our neighbor's son, over this time period, we formed a relationship with him to where we straight up said, "Hey, you're our adopted son. He's over at the house with us all the time, even to this day. He's still our other son." So he was working with me on the weekends over this time period. So when I went full time, he's still in high school. He came out and he helped me. Thank God he did when he did. Because boy, did I need it. And then he had hurt his knee one day. I had some dude from high school reach out to me about a job. He ended up coming out to help for a little time period. And then we had somebody else come in the fall, when my guy had to actually go back to school. When my guy had to go back to school, I had another guy come in and help me out. And then I think the next year I did by myself, trying to restructure because that other company ended up not going, getting their guys back the next year, so they just cut us off. Like, I'm talking about, this is a dude who straight up said, "Hey, in the fall, you can use my debris loader and do all our leaves." So I'm banking on that. I was mismanaging the money, spending, back into the company really, and on payroll. And then, I got this truck I got a payment on, which that was because the computer went down. When the computer went down in the RAM, we decided, hey, it's time to get a second truck, which is what we did. This is where I got that truck from the partner, though, F450 with the plow, and I figured I can get in the snow game. And it's a dump. So I was thinking ahead. Debris loader with the dump, no brainer. Got the debris loader. Or I got the dump. And then that fall, he decides he's not even going to go with us for the leaves. So I was stuck, man, to the point where I was just like, okay. We decided to try junk removal. I still thank God to this day. This is why I say God is amazing. Because we got just enough to keep us busy that whole entire winter. So I went into that winter to start snow removal. We got a hotel and we got a subcontractor. Now I bring this up once again, all for context. I'm plowing, man. I got this hotel, zero tolerance, man, looking good. We got our first snow, and this was a blizzard. So this is the first year I'm not plowing with the other guys. I was a truck supervisor when I stopped plowing with them. So I was still plowing. I was just kind of in charge of a little group, I guess, how they looked at that. And they pay you a couple more extra dollars, an hour for that. So I left that to do my own snow business. So that winter was a cluster. Oh my goodness, man. We got a blizzard. And the one guy working for me, we figured we were going to stay in the truck, plow these properties. It started out real good. Got the hotel cleared out real quick. Still snowing, of course. Now, it was probably about a 10-mile difference from where the two properties were for the subcontractor from our hotel. But that 10 miles was treacherous in the snow. It took an hour to get from one to the other. So apparently we spent the whole night because it started at like 8, 9 o'clock at night, maybe earlier than that. And we spent that whole entire night plowing. At some point early in the morning, I guess what happened was somehow we caught a nail on one of the dually tires. We didn't know it. I'm trying to drive to the hotel. My tires kept spinning in a lot of sections. I never really connected the dots. We get to the hotel, and I mean, hotel probably had like, oh my gosh, probably like eight, 8 or 9 inches down already. And I have a Meyer plow, which, as you know, them tire plows ain't all that doggone big. 8 foot Meyer with a truck that's 2-wheel drive. And I found out real quick that the truck had a flat. Which is why I was losing traction. Got stuck at the hotel after trying to get it out for about an hour. Someone in a Jeep comes by, pulls me out. I'm embarrassed, but I can't plow anymore because I got a nail in the tire. So subcontractors calling me, blah blah, and I'm telling him what's going on. He comes out, he tacks up whatever property, and then I think he even went and ripped off my hotel real quick and tried to he way overcharged him for nothing. Anyways, he went over there, opened that up, and I ended up getting my tire fixed. I think that next day, when as soon as the tire shop opened, they got me back on the road. I went back out, started clearing stuff up, but basically, I was trying to. I was just trying to plow, man. I was trying to be out there and get my plowing done, but I had screwed up so much with that storm by not having a spare tire. It's a stake body truck, so it's not like I really had the tools to really even lift the truck up at the time, to even take the wheels off at the time. I was kind of in over my head. So I did all that, man. I did all that. I drove into, I went through that winter, and basically, I straight up said, next winter I won't be plowing for myself. I went through that next year, getting my own clientele back up. I think we got up to 60 properties, 60, 70 properties, or whatever we were maintaining. Because this is my first year without the sub clients as well. It's just my clients at the time. My wife is the office manager. She's helping too. We're doing our best to grow this sucker as big as possible. So I get out there and I'm still trying my best, man, to just maintain and build a business. Maintain and build a business. And while I'm sitting here and going over and reflecting, man, something that happened after we got that 450, 2 weeks after, it was shooting some antifreeze, and I ended up needing an engine in it. So I was able to find a cheap, good engine that didn't have as much, didn't have anything going with it. Honestly, it was a good engine. I guess the vehicle had been wrecked, so we had to put an engine in that truck. Since, the partner that at the company I was plowing for, since he had sold it to me, he said he looked, he said, you're a friend. So I'm gonna take care of you, he took the amount that cost me to get an engine, he took that out of what I owed him on that truck. So, and once I got the engine in, another 7.3 in it, oh my gosh, that was a good truck. Anyways, I went through that challenge, man, and I didn't quit. I more so wanted to recalibrate. And the only way for me to do that was to work back with them. So I went through that season of mowing and everything else, going through growing pains. Um, I keep thinking of things that I forgot, and I'm sure I'm jumping all over the place. This podcast might not even be that great, but it's the truth. It's what really happened. Over the time period where we had, where we were dealing with this, subcontractor work, we were working like 6 days a week, 12, 14-hour days every day. That wasn't a life at all. And I refuse to go back to that even to this day and age. We did that year, and we also were getting audited by the IRS for 2 years. 2 years, and I'm filing my own taxes. I was checking on one box wrong or something like that. And one thing that we did that actually was smart is we always paid for audit protection. And that gives you a lawyer to defend you, to kind of go on your behalf to the hearing or whatever it is. So we got that all settled up, and we ended up owing, I think, like $17,000 or $20,000 federal, and another, I can't even remember. I think it was like 2 or 3,000 to the state. It's not because we were trying to cheat the system. It's literally because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I'm trying to do everything on my own, tax wise, and I didn't really take time to learn. I just plugging things in TurboTax, and that's how it went. I had to do payments to them as well. So I mention all these because there are some struggles that I feel like are key, especially for those who are trying this business thing, what they call business themselves. So jumping back to where I was, man, I'm sitting there trying to redo the business. Trust me, I thought about quitting at that point in time. But I'm not a quitter, Got a wife, kids looking up to me to not quit. So I'm not saying look up as in like I'm some idol. I'm definitely not that. I am a man. I am flawed like every other individual out there. But I am more than just, I don't look at myself as just an average man. I'm out here, I'm always striving for the best, as I've mentioned many times. I know the best wasn't happening, at that time, and it put me in a place where I almost, a couple times said, hey, let me go work for somebody. So I actually can attribute a little bit, like, at the time I had found Ring a Ding, Brian Ring, on social media. And he had said he almost quit 1 year. And I ended up messaging him and saying, what kept you from quitting? And he straight up told me, what kept him. And then he straight said, hey, you need at least 5 years to see where your business is going to go. So I stuck it out, That was just one little thing I can remember off that. But having a supportive wife, having supportive friends, guys who I now call brothers, having supportive parents, just family in general, kids, man, I couldn't ask for a better supporting cast around me. So, because of this, I kept going, man. I was motivated, beyond motivated, to where I did 2 more years, I think, with the other company, and then I went back out to my own snow thing. At this point, Dom had invested in to do it with me. We both did our own snow thing. We got this huge contract for 2 shops, and we still do to this day. First time I'm sitting there like, man, this is too big for us to maintain. I was still trying to get over what I had went through, that 1 year I tried. And what happened was we went out there, we were so cautious, we floored through it, man, and we had a decent sized storm. We made out real nice that year. So that was then. This whole time I have Hev working with me for the business. We even got up to around, I don't know, we got up to around 70 to 80 properties, 80 plus properties the last few years or so. And the last year in the fall, going into the fall, I said, I need to restructure this business. It's not where I need it to be. I need to have it where a couple guys can go out without me. I love what I do, but me being in a truck for the rest of my life, that's not the retirement I need to be looking at setting up. Need to set up a business. Right now I don't have a business. I have a job. So even to this day I can say I have a job. So I'm working on a business. So last year, going into this year, I've been working on, restructuring. I have a bookkeeper. Um, I have plenty of equipment, which if you've seen all my equipment, you've seen my follow-up videos. I did get a good lender to where basically anything we need, we can get. And for me, I have to justify it. So I do have a lot of debt in this business right now, which is why I'm sitting here. I'm trying to increase I'm actually increasing my sales going into 2024 so that, to be able to not only cover like every bill that comes in here, all the debt for the business, but so we can also live comfortably while I'm paying myself, at that when we get to the point where I'm trying to get, I want to pay myself a more comfortable salary because I'm one of those owners who is guilty of the I don't pay myself when things ain't doing great and things haven't been doing great, financially, just because of all the debt that we maintain payments, but it hinders other departments. So over this time period, man, our kids are now doing sports. Our son does baseball, our daughter does soccer. So I'm balancing out being a soccer dad. I'm trying to balance out, anything that, I'm trying to balance out really being a good husband as well. Just because my wife and I, we celebrate 15 years this year. Just because we've been together for 15 years, doesn't mean I take my foot off the gas, and I try to show that every day. Like, I love my wife, man. I'm not one of those guys who sit around and go, oh man, I don't get mushy whenever. You gotta let people know that are closest to you that you love them. I love my wife, I love my kids, I love my family, I love everyone that's a part of my life. Um, so I'm always, once again, striving to do my best. I guess if I were to also throw in something else, I didn't mention at all that, in 2014, I also joined a motorcycle club. And I know someone wondering, how did you have time for that? Well, it was a passion for me to like give back, do charity work and everything else, and the brotherhood of riding. So to sum that up real quick, I went there and started as a second road captain. From there, I was second road captain in Chaplain. From Chaplain, which is this is gonna be a weird transition here, I went from Chaplain to sergeant at arms. Now, for those who know the set, most people go, "Oh, well, the sergeant at arms one in there always, fighting and this and no." One thing you gotta be good at with sergeant at arms, and this is context to the rest of what I was just saying. As sergeant at arms, you have to know how to do conflict resolution. If you're a good sergeant at arms, that is. You can't be, oh, that person looked at us the wrong way. I gotta go jump off and go fight them. No. It's conflict resolution, whether it's your own brothers and sisters or, you know, another club. You gotta know how you gotta calculate everything ahead of time. You know, you gotta be smart about everything. So I went from there up to where I'm at now, which is vice president. I've been vice president the last couple of years. We're pretty much we're a club full of full of brothers and sisters who are just, at the stage in life where we're trying to enjoy our lives, not just club wise, but outside the club more so than anything else, especially after COVID. COVID changed so much, on the business side. Um, I'm talking about even like motorcycle club world to the point where it it cleared for a lot of people that, hey, spend more time with loved ones while they're here. But basically, it's a lot going on, man, and I'm all over the place here. But I say all that to say, it's a lot that happened in just my 34 years of life. Yeah, I'm 34 years old at this point in time. I've been through a lot, man, and I'm nowhere near satisfied. You know, it is so much more ideals I have as far as being an entrepreneur, and just my time is so valuable that I'm always thinking about production, efficiency, how to be more efficient, how to use less time, how to basically buy back my time. So I have so much to build off. Like, I'm nowhere near where I would like to be. My cash flow still isn't as well as I would like to be. So 2024, my focus is honestly to sell enough to be more than comfortable. I want to be more than comfortable. I don't want to just be check to check. Right now, I can tell you, I'm payment to payment, man. And that's over my years of mismanagement. I could do so much better at that. So I'm gonna be working on a lot this 2024, and I'll be talking back and probably doing like maybe like my man Cameron, Mister Mozuri out there. Maybe I'll do like daily truck talks like him, because that's the easiest way for me to do it. Of course, there won't be long extended versions like this, which I'm probably gonna have to break up into two parts if it doesn't sound like crap, because I'm new to this. But I just wanted to kind of get a backstory in. I know an hour is not long enough. I left a lot out. There are so many people that I'm just grateful for, man. God bless me with so many great people. Like, I can say hands down, I have the best wife in the world. Hands down, I had the best kids in the world. Hands down, I had the best family and friends in the world, you know. And they motivate me each and every day to keep going, keep moving strong, keep doing what I do. But that's all I got for now. I wish I could have went into more detail on a lot of things, but once again, I'm sitting here at 1 hour 23 doggone minutes, man, and I'm still sitting here talking. And I know these longer podcasts don't really draw in too much attention, which is why I said I'm probably gonna break this up maybe into 2 to 3 parts, whatever makes it easier for everyone. But y'all take it easy. Please don't hesitate to contact me, man. You have any questions? I've been through a lot when it comes to business, and there's some things that I'm going to go into more detail with other topics. This was all over the place because it brings in context as to how I got my knowledge into where I'm at now. You know, I'm sure you heard kind of where I said I learned how to manage routes working for previous companies. I did small engine mechanic, which is why I don't take none of my equipment to mechanics now. Um, I'm in the MC and I learned conflict resolution. I learned how to route stuff out being a road captain before I even became a sergeant at arms. You know, um, I also worked for fertilization companies. I learned how to do the chemical side. I learned customer service. It is in work for Mr. Hoover. I learned not only customer services, route management, but I also learned how to like do invoicing and everything else. So there's a lot of walks of life that took me to where I'm at now, and I'm still learning. So that was the point of me kind of going to my background, and I also wanted to not be light on the fact that I had a family throughout this whole time. I have a family throughout this whole time. Key word there. I feel like that's not said in a lot of these where people are like, "Oh, I'm successful," and I'm sitting there like, "Okay, well, what I want to hear is how you balancing out your family life." I can tell you right now, that is one of the toughest things you can do. You can't give your 100 to everything. I know for me, what's most important is giving my 100 to the family, which sometimes also means if I have to go out on Saturday, to go do certain jobs so that I can provide for my family, that's what it is. But that's all I have here, man. Any questions, let me know. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Be easy.